On the eve of Christmas, as the world grappled with the suffocating grip of the COVID-19 pandemic, two men in Seoul slipped through the shadows of a deserted dockyard, their breaths fogging in the icy air. Driven by greed, they pried open a shipping container from China, expecting to uncover a fortune in gold jewelry. Instead, their prize came with an unexpected guardian, a feral cat, its eyes glinting with malice, that lunged from the darkness and sank its claws into one of the men, Wang Ai. The scratch burned like fire, but the men dismissed it as they fled with their loot, retreating to a dingy hideout. Hours later, Wang Ai's skin grew clammy, his eyes glassy with fever, and his concerned friend hovered over him, desperate to help. But in a horrifying instant, Wang Ai's humanity dissolved. He lunged, sinking his teeth into his friend's throat with a guttural snarl, tearing out flesh before staggering into the night and collapsing into the nearby river. The current swept him away, his body drifting lifelessly toward the neon-lit heart of Gangnam District, where he would soon awaken as something far worse than a man. Meanwhile, Hyun-suk, a former Taekwondo champion with a quiet determination, had just arrived in Seoul, chasing a fresh start at a struggling online streaming firm in a Gangnam office tower. His heart, however, was set on more than just a job. He harbored a tender crush on his co-worker Min-jong, a sharp-minded woman who kept him at arm's length, her disapproval a constant sting. Their workplace was a pressure cooker of tension, exacerbated by their selfish boss, Tae-soo, a man who harassed Min-jong shamelessly while the company teetered on the edge of collapse, unable to turn a profit or pay its workers. Hyun-suk's dreams of winning Min-jong's affection seemed distant, but the chaos of the city was about to bind their fates in ways he could never have imagined. The next day, as snow dusted the streets, Wang Ai emerged from the river's depths, his humanity stripped away, replaced by a ravenous hunger. In the crowded streets of Gangnam, he became a spectacle of horror, tearing into a chunk of raw, bloody meat with his bare hands, his eyes wild with primal need, drawing gasps and screams from onlookers. But his hunger wasn't sated there. He staggered into Hyun-suk's office building, a predator unleashed, and began his rampage, sinking his teeth into anyone in his path. Those he bit turned swiftly, their humanity dissolving into the same blood-craving madness, their numbers multiplying as the infection spread like wildfire through the building's halls. Soonja, the building's steely renter, acted with ruthless pragmatism, ordering the exit seal to contain the outbreak, trapping everyone inside. But her plan crumbled when she and a wounded security guard were forced to flee, seeking refuge in Hyun-suk and Min-jong's office, their faces pale with terror as they recounted the nightmare unfolding below. Tae-soo, ever the opportunist, saw not tragedy but opportunity in the carnage, a chance to profit by filming the chaos for his failing streaming platform. His greed blinded him to the danger, and he insisted the group document the horror, dragging them into the heart of the outbreak. Their presence didn't go unnoticed. Zombies swarmed them, their guttural snarls echoing through the corridors, and in the ensuing chaos, Tae-soo and the others were overwhelmed, their screams cut short as they were torn apart and infected. Hyun-suk and Min-jong, fueled by desperation and survival instinct, fought their way through the blood-streaked halls, their every step a gamble against death. With phone lines blocked and help out of reach, they were cornered in the entrance hall, the infected closing in like a tide of nightmares. Hyun-suk, his protective instincts surging, shielded Min-jong by shoving her into a nearby minivan, locking her inside before turning to face the horde alone, his taekwondo skills the only thing standing between him and oblivion. Just as the swarm threatened to overwhelm him, Min-jong's courage ignited. She burst from the van, a fire extinguisher in hand, and blasted the infected back, giving Hyun-suk the chance to break free. Together, they fled to the building's parkade, their breaths ragged, their bond forged in the crucible of survival. But the nightmare wasn't over. Wang Ai, his body battered but unrelenting, and Soonja, now a snarling zombie, cornered them in the dim, concrete expanse. Hyun-suk fought with the ferocity of a man with everything to lose, bringing down both monsters in a brutal clash, but not before Soonja's teeth sank into his arm. The bite sent a chill through him. He knew what it meant, the inevitable transformation into one of those blood-craving beasts. As he turned to Min-jong, their eyes locked in a sorrowful farewell, the weight of their unspoken feelings hung heavy between them. But then, a glimmer of hope, Soonja's dentures clattered to the ground, revealing the bite hadn't broken skin. Hyun-suk was spared, and for a fleeting moment, relief washed over them like a lifeline. Their reprieve was short-lived. They clambered to the garage's roof, seeking escape under the gray Seoul sky, but Wang Ai, relentless in his hunger, recovered and pursued them, his footsteps a haunting echo on the concrete stairs. As they faced the monstrous shell of the man who had started it all, their fates hung in a precarious balance, the city's skyline a silent witness to their struggle. The night before Christmas had become a descent into hell, and for Hyun-suk and Min-jong, survival was no longer a promise. It was a question, one that lingered in the air as Wang-ai closed in, his eyes burning with an insatiable, inhuman hunger.